Hi all. Today we will discuss about components of curriculum. So in the last session we have discussed on essentials of curriculum. So in that presentation we have seen four different foundations, and these components of curriculum belong to the second category of foundation, that is structural foundation. So in this presentation we are going into the details of what are the essential or inevitable components of any curriculum. So there are four essential components. The first one, aims, goals and objectives. Contents, learning experiences or curriculum experiences. Assessment and evaluation. So these are the four essential components or essential ingredients, inevitable ingredients for any curriculum at any level. So let us see the details of each of these components. The first one, aims, goals and objectives. So you are familiar with writing objectives at the time of your B.Ed program, internship. There are different types of category of objectives, etc. So the first component in a curriculum, aims, goals and objectives. So the first question about this component is that whether these are hierarchical, which one comes first, or they are similar, synonymous. You can see that these terms are often used synonymously, the aims, goals and objectives. But of course there is a hierarchy. Let us see. Let us take the example of a football game, a soccer. So aim of the game is to win the match or not to lose the match. What shall be the aims? There shall be a single aim to win the match, or in some cases not to lose. So in order to win the match, it is essential to score goals, or at least one goal is necessary to win a match. Or if the opposition team scores one goal, we need to score more goals. So in any case, goal is essential to attain the aim. And in order to score goals, it is very essential to have a strategic plan to score goal. So similarly in education, so in curriculum, there shall be certain aim, an ultimate aim or a set of aims for a curriculum. And in order to attain that aim, we have to get some goals. We have to reach up to some goals. Then only we can attain that aim or aims. And to attain those goals, it is necessary that we have to acquire a set of objectives which are very specific, as in the case of a football game. A very meaningful strategy plan is essential to score a goal. Similarly, a very strategic approach is essential to attain the goals of a curriculum, and finally to the reach up to the aim or aims of the curriculum. So all these three are equally important for a curriculum: aim, goal, objectives. And aim is more elaborate, general. Goal is less general but somewhat specific. And objectives are very specific, highly specific. So that's a hierarchy. And it also provides a comprehensiveness. The aim of curriculum or aims of curriculum provide a comprehensiveness. So what is the net gain after completion of a particular course or a specific program? So these aims and goals as well as objectives are significant in that sense. Then with regard to objectives, there shall be a range for objectives. There shall be immediate objectives as well as distant objectives. Objectives which shall be attained through a single session. Such objectives are immediate objectives, and those require a series of sessions or a semester or a year or an entire duration of a program shall be termed as distant objectives. You are also familiar with taxonomy of objectives. There are different taxonomies, classifications, detailed classifications of objectives. The most elaborate are the taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy, as well as the revised Bloom's taxonomy. All those things you might have familiar with. And regarding statement of objectives, that also is a very, very crucial aspect with regard to this component. How we state an objective specifically, because these things are act as the basis of any curriculum. How specific we are stating the objectives, it depends on the attainment of its goals and aims. So we shall have a discussion regarding these objectives in some other presentation. And the second component, curriculum contents. Contents in the curriculum. What all things are there in a curriculum? The form of content. And that will depend on the type of the curriculum, such as whether this is subject centered or discipline centered or learner centered. So that which type of that curriculum belongs, that decides its content. Whether it is subject centered or discipline centered, then the content shall be providing a set of information, a quantum of information, will be more oriented towards acquiring knowledge. But when we plan for a learner-centered curriculum, then it shall be more activity oriented. So the content shall be practical oriented. So in that sense, we can classify the content such as theoretical and practical. Theoretical content as well as practical content. Or there shall be a theoretical component as well as a practical component in every curriculum. And is it necessary to divide these as theoretical and practical is another question that we have to discuss later on. So anyway, the content shall be depend on whether it is discipline-centered or learner-centered. And on the basis of that, more theory or more practical or more activities can be incorporated. Then the nature of content. What will be the nature of the content? The theory, the practical, whatever it is, and whether the content included in a curriculum shall be relevant to the learners, relevant to their present as well as future life, future job, etc. So in short, we can state it as the content shall be significant content. There is no meaning in learning something such as memorizing certain years, the name of certain persons, certain facts, etc. But what is significant is to develop a proper understanding which is essential for successful survival as well as existence of our planet as well as sustainable development. So that is a significant content. Not only not the name of a pathogen, its scientific name, it is not like that. It is not required for a common people or a common learner. It is required for only those people who are dealing with the micro level studies or micro level research, etc. For a common learner, so for example, in the case of a contagious disease, how to prevent it, that's a significant content. How to prevent the spread of the COVID-19, that's a significant content. It is not relevant whether it belongs to SARS family or any other family, its history, etc. So this is what is an example for a significant content. What is significant for the life of the learner, the present as well as future. Then selection of content. What type of content and its complexity, the level. Suppose the subject or course is comparatively new. So for example, a course on research will be a new one for a student enrolled for Master of Education. So they have no previous background on what is research and all. So in such condition, we need to begin with the basics of research, basic vocabulary of research. And similarly, in the case of some other, say for example, advanced philosophy, of course, there is a background for those people enrolled for masters in education. They are having exposure, adequate exposure on philosophical foundations at their B.Ed level. So we can include some advanced topics or advanced content. And the nature of the activities or practical component, the proportion of theory and practice, that should be more in professional courses, in teacher education, in other professions such as engineering, medicine, even agriculture. All those are nowadays considered as a profession. So for professional knowledge, content required for professional knowledge means that knowledge which can be practicable. So the content shall be, while you are selecting the content, That also we can discuss in detail in another presentation. But whatever it is, the selection of content also is a very important aspect. Then organization of content, how we organize the content, both the theory as well as the practice or activities, how well we organize, what are the principles and procedure we are adopt to organize content through the curriculum. That's the another important aspect. Then the third component, curriculum experiences. So curriculum experiences is the sum total of planned experiences throughout the duration of a program, and this curriculum experiences naturally include both learning and teaching experiences. The learning experiences as well as the teaching experiences, because we teachers frame curriculum for learners. So what are teaching activities, teaching strategies, methods, materials, etc., and what the learner is supposed to do, that is learning activities. Both these are included in this curriculum experiences, sum total of experiences of both teaching and learning experiences. And the identification, selection and organization of experiences, how we identify what procedure we have to follow and how to select and organize different experiences in specific order. What are the principles for those? All those we can discuss in detail in another presentation. And the fourth component, assessment and evaluation, that is also is very significant. So in any curriculum, assessment is essential part of a curriculum, because the assessment mainly we mean to assign a value for the product or outcome, the end product. What actually acquired after completion of a particular course or a specific program. So there are three dimensions for assessment. The first one is assessment as learning. Assessment itself is considered as learning. In online platforms, in online programs, especially self-learning programs, the assessment itself considered as an important means for learning. There is a component in such self-learning materials such as peer assessment. In that, we have to assess the assignments submitted by our peers. In some courses, it requires we have to assess assignments of at least three of our peers. So while assessing their assignments, we will get some insight other than our perception about that particular aspect. So in that way, assessment itself was learning. Or when you are writing an exam, or when you are attempting a quiz that you are familiar with, online quiz based on a specific topic, and if you want to answer all the items in the quiz, or if you want to answer comprehensively for an assignment, you require to go through the study materials. So there also the assessment act as learning. Assessment itself becomes learning. Then second dimension is assessment for learning. It is for improving the learning process. The formative assessment, continuous assessment, that's meant for improving learner by identifying learner capacities and learner issues. Strength and weak points of learners can be identified through, say for example, diagnostic testing you are familiar with. So it's assessment for learning. We are diagnosing the difficulties of the learners and then we are adopting alternative teaching strategies to fill the gap in learning. So that's assessment for learning. And assessment of learning by the completion of learning something, usually the term end or semester end evaluation, we are very much familiar with, or we are mostly adopting such kind of assessment of learning. The output assessment, what the learner acquired after completion of a particular course or a program. So these are the four basic essential components or ingredients of any and all curriculum: the aims, goals and objectives, the content, curriculum, experiences and assessment. So thanks for watching the presentation. Thank you all.